Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and in today's video we're gonna be making a hero universe in 24 hours. So it's gonna be kind of like Marvel, Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, all that kind of stuff. Now all this is cool to think about, but we actually need a plot, and since I can't film myself doing art, we're gonna use AI. And specifically, Microsoft Designer AI. Let's do this. But we need to give it a prompt. So I have this idea for a badger superhero called Badger Boy. So let's do that. A badger in a robber suit. Honestly, I really like the results. It kind of gives me Rocket Raccoon vibes. I honestly really like it. So now that we have our superhero, Badger Boy, we need to come up with an origin story for this badger. Here we go. A long time ago, there was a badger in a zoo, and he didn't like the people looking at him. So one day, he took a little bit of a vine that he found on a tree and used it to climb out of the cage. He was never found after that. And that creates Badger Boy. Let me know your thoughts of the origin story, if you want me to change it or if you want me to add more to it in the comments down below. Alright, so we have our superhero, Badger Boy. But what will his supervillain be? Something that presses all of his buttons, makes this badger as angry as he ever could be. Ah, I know. Hold on, it must be somewhere in here. There it is. An all-knowing cyborg rat. Yeah, that should do it. Alright, so the origin of this cyborg rat is a mad scientist was working on him one day and decided to look at his brain. And he took it all apart and replaced it with metal. And now he's a cyborg. And went kind of cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, if you know what I mean. And I think this is a perfect rivalry. And now that we have our supervillain and our superhero, all we need now is a neutral character. Meet Bessie Hound, which is a hound that's a detective. And really, he doesn't care which side he's on, if he's on the cyborg rat side or if he's on Badger Boy's side. He just cares if he gets paid. So, yeah. And what's his origin? No one really knows what his origin is. He just came out of nowhere. And now that we have the beginning to our whole universe, Bessie the Hound, Badger Boy, and Cyborg Rat, now we can work on their superpowers. For Bessie Hound, I gave him 1000 IQ. And I gave Cyborg Rat the ability to mind control. And I gave Badger Boy super strength. And now that we have this community of super animals, we need to come up with an area that these characters are going to live. In comes Neutron City, a home for any animal and every animal, even alien animals. And I decided to make our hero a sidekick, and that sidekick's name is Rocky Moose. And the origin of Rocky Moose is he is actually made out of rocks, and the reason for this is because when he was a young moose without his horns and all that stuff, he fell into some toxic stuff, and that turned his body into rocks. Kind of like the origin of Sandman almost, though it didn't affect his whole body. Then I gave the supervillain a sidekick too, and his name is Snowpuff. And Snowpuff the rabbit seems like it's a totally harmless little bunny, though it is not. It is a hitchhiker from outer space that can basically eat anything and everything, and it also has super strength, kind of like our hero, Badger Boy. So, yeah, he is a very, very strong psychic. So now that we basically have everything we need to base our first comic on, we have our superhero side, Badger Boy, and Rocky Moose, and then we have our villain side, Cyborg Rat and Snowpuff. And then we have our neutral side, Bessie Hound. And then, of course, the city that they live in, Neutron City. And if you're probably wondering, where did the name Neutron City come from? Well, the city was founded by a newt named Newbie Newt. And although this was a long, long time ago, and although this newt was a very, very small animal, it still left a very huge impact on the history of Neutron City. And no one knows what his origin is, because this dates back over 200 years ago. But this was all I could really conjure up for our whole superhero universe. So that's gonna be about it. I might do another part 2 in maybe a month from now. But yeah, that's about it for today's episode. So long, folks. Bye!